We're here, you're there, and this is the WDW Fan Zone Show. I am Stuart Sternberg. I am joined by John Maloney, Kurt, and Darlene Nagy, and Cogsworth, who's in the background there. And we've got a great show for you tonight. We're going to be talking about all the absolutely amazing things that Disney just revised at the parks here at Disney World in Florida. From, Photo Pass with Genie Plus, fee-free parking at the resorts or self-parking, no reservations for annual pass holders after 2 p.m. except Saturdays at the Magic Kingdom. We're going to get into all
Saturdays and Sundays.
Saturdays and Sundays, right. And we're going to get into all that. We discussed this on the news show on Tuesday, but we're going to discuss how positive these changes are in the parks. And, we'll take it from there. So let's get into it and let's get the show started right now. Okay. How you guys doing?
Good.
Okay.
Fantastic.
Yeah. I hope everybody had a good week. We've got a nice weekend coming up. It'll be a little cool here in Florida. I don't know how it's going to be where you guys are. Probably much colder.
Probably.
About 36 degrees right now, so go figure.
Living in even when I didn't live in Florida, what I always find funny is people will post something on Facebook, Twitter, and they'll go, "Oh my God, it's 60 degrees here in Florida." Meanwhile, it's like 20 degrees or 20 below zero in Minnesota. It's
with 40-mile-an-hour winds.
Right. So the people live in Florida, and I do now, but they want sympathy for the 60-degree weather. It's like, we're not getting any sympathy when people are below zero someplace.
There's the violin playing right there.
Yeah. Now, as we start talking about the show, something I want to mention, I have not been the kindest to Josh D'Amaro since Bob Iger came back. Not that I've criticized him a lot. It's just I kind of aligned by guilt by association with Bob Chapek, probably unfairly. And I think he's got an opportunity now to show not just the fans and guests at Disney World or the Disney parks, but Bob Iger, the board more specifically, that maybe he will be the right person for the job. And I think, without knowing too much, some of the perks that we've seen come or announced this past Tuesday, I'm thinking they came from him, which makes me believe that Chapek probably tied his hands when he was here and not allowed him to do the things he wanted to do. And I hope that's the case, because Bob Iger seems to be the type of person who delegates responsibility. And if that's the case, Josh D'Amaro's got a great opportunity to show everybody he is the man for the job. Not that, and I'm not saying there's not any other qualified people, but he really has an opportunity here to showcase himself.
One of the rumors I heard was that he and Chapek didn't get along like everyone thought they did.
Right. He might have been fighting with him all the time to get things done and probably lost the battle because,
right,
the person who signs your paychecks is the person who wins.
Right. Well, last year, right before Iger took over, we were being told it was going to be Memorial Day. That's when they were going to open for the Tron light cycle attraction. Mm-hmm. And now all of a sudden it's pushed forward.
Yes.
So were they holding it back because they were told they needed to hold it back?
Maybe. But I knew it would be open when, around that time, because the Easter holidays are coming around there. Kids are out of school for spring recess. You'll have a lot of vacationers there. So you want something for them to come to the parks for, even though, yes, they'll get those people anyway, but it's something new and exciting for them to see and do.
Well, in that aspect, then, do they push it forward and make it happen sooner because maybe they didn't have as many bookings as they wanted?
I don't know. I think it could have been done this past year if they really wanted to, and I think they pushed it back for, you mentioned this on the show a while ago, that was your sentiment, that they pushed it back to have something new for people in 23, and here we are.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. When is Easter this year?
I don't know.
In the spring.
Good answer.
What day is Easter Sunday?
Yeah. What was George Washington's wife's name?
Mrs. April 9th.
Okay, so that ties right in with Easter break.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And you I would think middle end of March, you're going to see some previews, whether it's for cast members and or pass holders, DCL members. You'll see that.
I think I heard or read somewhere that they were going to do cast member and DVC. So that would probably tie in with,
I heard DVC and pass holder previews would be available.
Okay.
Which makes sense. And I'm sure it'll be a virtual queue for a while too.
I'm hoping.
Yeah. But I think everything that came out on Tuesday was really exciting. Let's start out outside the parks for a second and at the resorts with the free self-parking returning again for resort guests.
I'm happy for the people that are coming and paying all this money. I'm sure what's going to end up happening is room rates are going to go up. And that's where it should be, is within your room rate. The rates are expensive as it is.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we know for a fact, like a room isn't $159 anymore. It's more like $269 a night for a moderate.
Mm-hmm. And you know what? That goes back to like when I did that survey, with Genie Plus. Would you rather have ticket prices raised and have Genie Plus included in it, which means it would go back to like a Fast Pass Plus kind of thing? And everybody said yes, they'd rather see higher ticket prices and have to pay separately for it and go through what they're going
right.
through. And I think at the resorts, you probably will see that. They'll raise the room rates, but it's more palatable that way because everybody's raising room rates no matter where you are. And I'm not talking about Disney. I'm talking anywhere.
Somebody just posted, though, that they just booked a room at a value resort for $159. That's not bad.
No, that's not bad at all. I remember when they were $59 a night.
Oh, so do I, but they weren't nearly as nice as they are right now.
I never stayed at one, so.
They're much more impressive now than they were then.
Yes, they are.
It was a very value resort. Now you're actually getting something for it. So I still disagree that staying on a resort with the Skyway costs more than staying at one of the other resorts. I still disagree with that.
Right.
You know what? Yeah. Just looking at it from their perspective, you're paying for an accommodation that other resorts don't have that will get you to the parks faster. Some of the parks.
But the other resorts still have buses going to them. These resorts barely have any buses going to them.
You don't need them.
That's why. The whole reason why you don't need them is because that's why they put the Skyway in. So the Skyway was installed so they wouldn't need the bus drivers.
So do you think
bus drivers could go somewhere else?
Do you think
they're saving money?
Well, do you think they're saving money? Or do you think the resort guests are paying for the cost to build it?
They're paying for not only the cost to build it, they're still paying extra for something they're paying extra for something they shouldn't have to pay for. Because it's going to cost less to run that than it would to run all those buses.
Well, looking at it from Disney's perspective, and I'll just pose this question to everybody. Would you pay more to be in a resort that has a Skyliner that can take you back and forth to Epcot, just as an example, or would you rather sit and wait for a bus?
The last time we rode that thing back from Epcot, my wife would tell you she'd rather just drive. Because it was about a 45-minute wait to get onto the Skyliner.
We've waited in an hour and a half line for the Skyliner, and it's not fun.
No,
I've never had an issue with the Skyliner. But then
you're
again,
not going at the end of the park.
Not a resort either.
Yeah.
No, I wasn't saying a resort. I was just taking it for the fun of it.
Right. So you're not taking it at the end of the night after the fireworks
Or
early in the morning.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
That's true. Do I think a premium should be put on it for having the Skyliner there? You know what? I'm going to answer it with the way I think they're looking at it. If people are willing to pay that premium, why not? I think if they get flat, and this is why the fees for the parking went away. They kept getting a lot of complaints. People did not like the fact that they were paying extra on top of paying whatever it was for their hotel room per night.
Right.
So they I don't want to say they came to their senses. They listened to guests and they changed it. And I think if that happens with the Skyliner, you might see the same thing happen. You might see a little adjustment in the rooms. But if people don't complain or people are okay with it because they feel like they're getting an added service that's beneficial to them, they're going to continue to do it.
Well,
If you're there only for a week, so say you're there for 5 days. 5 days, that's how long we go for. We only go to those two parks 1 day each. We're paying extra for something that we won't use on 3 days.
yeah, I don't think it that's even relevant. I think what's relevant is what is the demand for those rooms, and that's what's going to dictate what the price is. So if the demand
Good
for the
point.
rooms went up, then
Right.
That's why the
Right,
prices went up.
right, yeah.
that's what's going to
That's
drive
an
it.
excellent point, John.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent.
I mean, I don't know that, but that seems to
Mm-hmm.
be why they would knock the prices up.
Yeah, I agree with that. Good point. So let's get to the fee-free parking. I mentioned why they've done it. Now John and Kurt, you guys stay usually at Disney resorts, DVC or the
Well,
deluxe.
DVC, we don't have to worry about it. It's already in our fees.
Okay,
Correct.
okay.
Yeah.
So you're the wrong people to ask, but I'm sure
But
there are a lot of guests that are thrilled with that.
my wife and I went down there last year and stayed off DVC, it was either All Star Music or Pop Century. I don't even remember where we stayed on that trip. And quite honestly, there was, I think it was a $18 fee
Yeah,
because we had a rental car.
Yeah.
In that level, it was like $18. The moderate, it's around 20 or 22, and it's like 20, 25 for the deluxe resorts.
Mm-hmm.
So it's nice to see that gone.
Mm-hmm. Do you think it's gone not just because of the complaints from guests, but because they, the new regime took to heart that people were complaining how Disney was nickel and diming them on things?
Yeah.
Well, you got to look at it this way. You were paying for your resort $25 a day or $18 a day.
The prices just went up.
Just to say, then you go to the park. You don't have an annual pass. You've got your tickets that you've already paid, say $1,500 or $2,000 for the tickets for your family of 4. And then you have to pay $25 or more for parking each day at the park too.
Yeah.
Not if you're staying at the resort.
Oh, okay.
If you're staying at the resort, the parking in the
Parking.
parking lot is free.
right.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
your ticket.
Unless you want to upgrade to preferred.
Right.
Well, that's just it's like 2 rows in front of where you're parking if you get there early. So it's really not that big.
I could definitely see them raising the price for parking at the theme parks. Because
They do every.
Well, yeah, but they're going to follow suit with what every other theme park and
Orlando.
Amusement park
Entertainment enterprise.
Right.
Yeah.
They're just going to follow suit. They're not going to do anything that no one else is doing.
Right.
They may be the first to announce it, but they certainly won't be the last, or they could be the last to announce it.
True.
But it'll happen. The park tickets, they said they're not going to lower the cost right now. Now, that could change if attendance changes. I don't, but people are paying it. So they're going to continue to keep it there. So it is nice that they did something for guests staying on property. And I think they had to, because you want to give people incentives to come to Disney World and stay on Disney property and not go to the Ramada down the road or the Hilton up the block.
Correct.
I also think they want to reestablish a positive relationship with their guests.
Absolutely.
So I think I think it's reversing the trend of, little things in the press that are, going viral and people are complaining about, and people saying that things aren't as magical. I really think that they want to, I'm sure it's from the change in leadership, but that they want to have a better relationship with their guests.
Yeah. You know what irks me? I think most of the people who do podcasts or write blogs or have a website, Disney fan website, are genuinely big positive thinking Disney fans, but you have the few, and those few that are critical of anything and everything Disney does that scream louder than anybody else does. Might be a clickbait site. It could be, whatever their agenda is. They might have a different agenda that they're doing it for, and their voices unfortunately get heard above everyone else. It's sad. There are certain sites that, we love Lou Mangello and WDW Radio. Those are positive thinking sites that you want to listen to his podcast, see his show on Wednesday night, his live show Wednesday nights on Facebook. And there are others. I've been a big fan of AJ Wolf, who has the Disney Food Blog, and the company that owns the Disney Food Blog, which I think is her, owns All Ears. At this point, and that was Deb Wills before that,
yep.
Who is a phenomenal person, in her own right. So there are a lot of positive sites. You got to you see those clickbait sites, you see the sites that are just spewing out anti-Disney this and that. Those aren't Disney fans, and just move on from that. And I wish the media would ignore those sites. I
Right.
Really do. And not everything is positive, and fine and dandy and flowers and roses and whatever else. But when you look at what every other theme park does or amusement park, who gets it right most of the time when they don't? Disney.
Mm-hmm.
And there might be certain things we don't like. None of us like the prices going up and up and up. But they're going up everywhere. Another thing they did now, Genie Plus, which I really wish would either be modified, and I don't want to say a little bit, but drastically modified or go away completely. They did something that I thought was really positive, and that was adding PhotoPass or the PhotoPass lenses, rather.
Well,
they added
in ride photos.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought that was wonderful too. I think what they need to do to satisfy me as a guest that does not purchase Genie Plus, and when I say me as a guest, I'm talking about any guest who doesn't purchase Genie Plus, find a way to make the line for the lightning lanes move, but at the same time not cripple the standby lines and have them move at a pace similar to what you got with FastPass Plus. I don't know how they can achieve that.
Well, yeah, we do.
Well, yeah, we do know how they can.
We do know how they can achieve it, and that's to have enough attractions that have a draw. But there's certainly a cost to that.
Yeah, there is. Well, but I'm talking about with what they have going right now.
Yeah.
How do you do that? And I think it's a difficult scale to balance things on.
You know what?
And they're learning as they go.
But if they could or if they took a look at kind of plussing the other attractions they have, making something new about them, without investing a ton of money, you're going to draw people. People are going to want to see what's new about it. If they haven't been on in a while, they're going to try it out. But if you can at least improve the experience on those other mid-level and lesser attractions, I think you could spread and distribute the guests more and cut down on the big long queues for the biggest ones. I mean, the biggest rides, the biggest attractions, the most popular ones, they're always going to have that pressure, but I think you can dilute it some.
But you know what? I'm saying they should do that anyway.
I agree.
And I think the best solution for me, and they've got their own marketing and their own statistics they've done everything, so they know what's best for them. I'm just talking about what I think is best. It's just my opinion.
We all are.
I would remove the purchase price from Genie Plus, add that cost into the ticket. So, let's say on average you raise ticket prices $15 per guest going in who's paying. And then have it operate as like it did with FastPass Plus, where you take, you've got the FastPass lane moving in, you take 8 from there, you take 4 from the standby line, so everything keeps moving. Maybe not equally, but it keeps moving. So you're not pissing off people that have paid for the service, and you're not pissing off people who haven't paid for the service. That that's what I would do, but I know that's not going to happen.
So John brought up a point though, as far as plussing other attractions.
Mm-hmm.
When you look back at FastPass Plus was available on
Everything,
every attraction pretty
right.
much,
And that's what it should
they
be.
limited the number of attractions that can be
I
on
think that's
Genie
what
Plus.
they should do. Yes.
So
Yeah.
if they offered it to more attractions and spread it out,
Mm-hmm.
you could technically, for both non-Genie Plus and Genie Plus, have those lines be shorter because people would spread out for more Genie Plus attractions, because there's more available to them, instead of only going to the ones that are only available, which would allow you to get on something like Pirates of the Caribbean sooner because maybe someone else has a fast pass. Well, the only other thing I can figure is when they did all the breakdown of who was buying which for Genie Plus and who, or for Fast Pass, and who was just going to the attraction outright. My guess is something like Mickey's Filler Magic. Why bother getting a Fast Pass for it when you can walk right in with a 5-minute wait anyways? So
that's a good point too.
It's still, if you could spread it out a little bit more with a couple more attractions, I think it'll make a difference with those lines. They wouldn't necessarily be as long.
Oh, go ahead, John.
I was saying that's why they were adding other things like parades and fireworks and character meet and greets, and they were taking some of the individual lightning lanes out and putting them into the Genie Plus. I mean, they know to try to distribute it more. I would assume that there's some reasons why they don't put everything into inventory.
It could be. Darlene, I was going to ask you, what do you think is the biggest complaint, or what from what you've heard is the biggest complaint about Genie Plus?
The past couple days and weeks, with the holidays and marathon, I had friends and family in, and they are not happy with Genie Plus because they paid for it and they couldn't book any rides.
So, and that's where I was going with this. That's the biggest problem. The second.
That's not right.
No, that's not right.
No.
And that's why I think they have to change it. So if everybody's on equal footing, you're paying extra to get into the park. So Disney's revenue stream is increasing from there rather than by charging for Genie Plus.
Right.
You're equalizing everybody's ability to get, we'll call it, a lightning lane. But I do believe they need to do a lot more. It's not just that. They do need to increase the number of attractions they can put on there. And if there were attractions that there were reasons that they're not putting on there, then like John, you said, plus the attractions. So you do have people wanting to go there.
And improve the reliability of the attractions.
Mm-hmm.
I thought they had a big list of attractions.
It is large enough. I don't know which ones anymore, for instance, in the Magic Kingdom are not on.
Right.
Yeah.
Plus.
It's true. I honestly, I think everything should have Genie Plus attached to it. So all right, some areas you'll just be able to walk on like I don't know, Muppets.
Country Bear Jamborees.
They don't have to walk on.
They have to have something in the queue to provide 2 lines as well.
Right. But that would also allow, okay, we're shut out of here, but we can go see Country Bears.
Country Bears does not have a lightning lane.
Yeah.
Either does, surprisingly, Hall of the Presidents.
Well, yeah, there's barely a queue for Country Bear Jamboree. Usually you're just walking into the lobby and.
Yeah. Oh, the show starts in 2 minutes. Are there seats available? Yeah, come on in.
Come on in. Yeah. Well, we have had to wait for a show to get done, which is part of the reason why they shortened the show, because too many people are waiting to get in. So instead of an 18-minute experience, it's 12. So you don't have to wait as long.
That's very true. We know Disney's evolving, so there's going to always be new changes and new attractions coming in.
And maybe there's an opportunity to bring other kinds of experiences. Yeah. So not only are you going on attractions or waiting in a line to see a show or going to get something to eat or greeting a character, getting a snack. Yeah, maybe they can find, or they've got parades and other things. So if they could find some other kind of other kind of activity to keep you occupied. I think that those are other opportunities they have without tons of investment
Mhm.
to spread people out and make them feel. So we've said before that going to Walt Disney World is not about the attractions per se anyway. It's about
True.
how we feel when we're there.
Yep.
And attractions contribute to it, but if there are other activities that can make us feel like we are having a great time with our families, with our friends, and enjoying ourselves, that's another opportunity for making the guests
Mhm.
happy and feeling like it's a magical experience.
What's the one thing I've said that's not an attraction they need to bring back to Disney's Hollywood Studios that would do exactly what you're saying?
Streetmosphere.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
Street
Yeah.
Atmosphere gets a crowd.
It
It
does.
entertains people. It's random throughout that particular area there in Hollywood Stu or was.
Doesn't break down.
Nope, doesn't break down. Well, but you know what? They are addressing that too. That's the reason Rock and Roller Coaster is going to be shut down for a while. They're going to fix what ails it.
Well, that's good.
Is that Aerosmith?
Yes,
Okay.
I didn't say that's what ails it, but the ride's broken down more than any other in the last year.
Interesting fact. So we've been looking at Genie Plus.
Mhm.
So over the weekend, with it being the holiday, or with it being the way it was, I think it was $20 a day on Saturday and Sunday with Marathon Weekend.
Oh,
On Monday, it
I
was
thought it was
sad.
29.
Was it up to 29 again?
I think it was.
One of those days there was only 20. So I'm like, yep, let's
Okay.
jump back up. Monday it was 17. So I'm like, oh, maybe that's the new standard price. Tuesday I was discussing things with my sister with our trip. It was only 15. Today I look at it, it's back up at 17.
I was in Epcot today, and Epcot, I don't want to say it was crowded. There was a nice crowd there, but because Epcot is so big, it was distributed very well. So yeah, there were wait times that were closing in on an hour in certain areas of the park, but it wasn't bad. It was really a good day to go to the parks. And we're talking, for somebody who lives down here, you're gonna say, okay, I went to the park and it was busy in the middle of January when there should be nobody there. But for somebody who's vacationing, and it's like they're saying, thank God I didn't come Christmas time during the holiday season.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure if people who purchased Genie Plus today, I don't know what the cost was. I'm sure
17.
they were very happy they did. I'm sure they got through a lot more things than they would have otherwise. And people who didn't purchase it, I'm sure were able to do a lot more because they were able to, the crowd was distributed very well.
So my sister has a early birthday here, early in the year. So about 10 years ago, when they first moved down to Florida, they used to always go to the park right around her birthday. They couldn't go to the park because of what's going on. Like right now would be an easy time to go to the park to get like a hotel room somewhere, inexpensive hotel room. She said they have we all know they have so many things going on that they set up for weekends, whether it's a marathon or there's a cheerleading thing going on, or there's something going on for football or something going on with soccer, any sport, you name the sport. They have so many club activities going on throughout the year now. All the value and moderate resorts are booked. You just can't find them.
No.
So she goes, it's really hard to find, because she goes, look, they're talking about all these deals going on. She goes, I can't get in because they're all booked.
Yeah.
Those deals are limited too, like the 30% that they're going to be offering, or they are offering. They're limited to a certain number of rooms per resort,
right?
And the values or the percentage off or discounts at some resorts are less than 30% too. But you know what? If Disney's booking these resorts, that tells you they're doing a good job getting people into the parks.
Yeah.
I can't disagree. She's just saying it used to be, again, she could get a resort relatively easily. She goes, now it's hard to find anything. There are times where it's available, but You might as well wait until late April, early May before you head down, which is nowhere near her birthday. So they're doing a good job of getting these things full. That was my whole point.
It's even hard to get a DVC room right now.
It has been, yeah.
Yeah, very hard.
For somebody who wants to vacation Walt Disney World, my advice to them would be, and this is what we used to do when my kids were little, a year or more out is when you start to book and plan your trip. Don't wait for a month before, 6 months before, even 3 months before, or 9 months before. Do it at least a year out.
And that can be true for any kind of travel these days because the demand for travel currently is so high.
Yep. Yeah, I do think that will change, and I think we'll see, a little bit less travel than we have in the past year or two. But people want a vacation. People are going to vacation. You work hard, and what do you look forward to? Your vacation. And who gets your vacation dollars makes a big difference. And Disney, no matter what they've been through in the last couple of years, they still do a great job getting people into the parks and onto property.
Our biggest issue right now, more than getting into a DVC, we book. I mean, the day we booked our DVC resort. Mm-hmm. So, and that's something we start planning a year out. Where are we thinking about how much of the point's going to be? That's for a whole nother show. Our issue right now is flights. Trying to find a flight is hard. And we make sure we're booking the flight a day before we're going to Disney. And we're coming back sometime after our Disney actual trip at Disney. A lot of because of what happened yesterday, where everything got shut down. The entire nation was shut down. So it's hard right now. I hope we don't. And not only that, but the ticket prices. I think it's like, here they're advertising $49 flights on Southwest Airlines. And I got to be honest, we looked at our dates and it's like, oh, hey, look here, $139 to Florida. But when you click on it, that flight's at there's one flight available at 11:59 at night. The flights during the day were
the times the flights. There's such a huge disparity between the times of the flights for the cheaper price and the times of the flights when you would want to use it.
Yeah. And the fact that there's only one nonstop both ways.
Yeah. Well, where we're going, there's more than one nonstop. There's about 5 a day. But the simple fact that we can't get that for under $500, it just kills us.
Yeah, it's hard. It's when people have to travel, even if it's for a weekend, you're spending $600 each way just to go someplace for the weekend because you have to, whether it's a wedding or a funeral or something else. It's hard, and you have to do it, and they know that, so you're going to spend the money.
Yeah.
Anyway, getting back into the parks, Genie Plus, adding the PhotoPass rides. Do you think that's another incentive for people to buy?
Oh, yeah, that's definitely another incentive for them.
I think people will take advantage of it too.
Yeah. I mean, that would have been a good idea when they were putting it at $29.
Yes, it really would have helped.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it would have been a better pill to swallow.
You know what? Even though Bob Iger was there before and he came back, there still was a transition period for him to get reacclimated to everything. And I still think, even though he's probably already reacclimated, it's still going to take time for them to do things his way. When I say his way, I mean the company way that was performed before. The person who was there before Bob Iger, and I'm talking about before he came back, without mentioning his name.
And when you think about that, that's kind of smart too, because what is the only way you can get your attraction photo on? What are they attaching to? It's your magic band. Mm-hmm. If you don't have a magic band, we didn't buy magic bands last year. We didn't even get the really cheap ones. We got them from a year ahead. We're the one from last year.
Yeah.
And that battery really does only last a year, as they said.
No, I have some that are 3 to 4 years old.
Me
I'm still
too.
using.
Yeah. Trust me.
We weren't getting them though. Trust me, we tried. None of us. We were wearing ones that were a year old from just the year before. So somewhere in there, I don't know if they changed the battery vendor or what.
Yeah, they might have.
I haven't bought one in 3 years.
Yeah, I haven't bought one.
It'll work on the attraction, like signing into an attraction, but actually getting the photo off of the attraction, it wasn't coming through.
Huh, that's different.
You know, and I still do things the old-fashioned way. You know, I have the manual pass card, and I just tap my finger with the card on it.
But is it reading that when you're going past the portrait on the wall in the Haunted Mansion?
Probably not.
It wasn't reading that. You needed a Magic Band to get it. Yeah. Now the smart thing, yes, they're $10 more. These Magic Band Pluses, they're rechargeable. That's what's selling me on it. I won't have to buy one every year. It's a rechargeable one where I can just keep plugging it in.
But you know what will get you to buy one every year? They're going to come out with new designs with the latest and greatest. That was announced today. We'll probably have it on the news again on Tuesday. But annual pass holders, I'm not going to mention the park because everybody's going to get an email who can get one. A Dumbo magnet is coming out.
Yes.
And it'll be available in one park. And
same one every year.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you know what? That's a great perk too.
I just wish they would mail them.
They do periodically, but the ones they mail are when you're right. It's when your annual pass renews.
Yeah.
Right. The one that I keep getting every time we renewed is the Mickey with the orange background.
Yeah.
I got one right here.
Yeah.
I got a few of these now.
Yeah.
I don't need it. I don't need this one. Send me there was a Figment one. There was an Orange Bird one that was out in parts of the same time. I didn't get that one.
I finally got the Orange Bird one. I never got
I don't have the Orange Bird one.
I called them and asked them
Simba.
I got them mailed to me.
Oh, see?
Oh, that's cool.
I should have pulled a John.
But you know what? For them, I don't agree with them mailing them. If it's one of those specialty things that they're making available, you know, if it's an annual pass holder who's on property, you can pick one up. If you're not there, you know what? They'll have one maybe when you go the next time. That'll be available. I like the fact that they do this periodically, like the Orange Bird one. And I was locating different places, which, you know, it's kind of exciting to go there. I'm not waiting online forever. I won't do that.
But Stuart, I was down there in May and they said, we don't have any of those. They stopped that 2 months ago.
Yeah, that happens.
Well, and that's
like John said, I'd rather, if I'd known that, I would have had it mailed to
that they're doing this too. And it starts, and I don't even know if I'll be in the park.
You know what? I'd like to get the Dumbo one, but if I don't get it, I'm not going to cry over it.
Yeah.
But I just think it's something nice that they're doing. Is it a big thing that they're doing? No. Are you going to get people who can complain and say that's what they do for pass holders? Of course you are. But they're doing something. You're still getting something that's not costing you anything, and be happy for that. John, did you almost fall?
No, but my light did.
I saw that going.
It shook everything. Wow.
For those of you who are listening to us, you're not seeing the special effects that you get on YouTube, which I really ask that you kindly subscribe, like, and share the show. It will help us out tremendously. Please. Not just on YouTube to do that. If you listen to us on iTunes, please do it there. iHeartRadio, or wherever you're listening to us.
Or even launching it from the WDW Fan Zone app.
Yep, that too. I always forget about that. That's John's brainchild, and he did a great job with him. And I love the magnet thing you sent. That was you know, so Disney is doing some things that are really positive that they weren't doing a year ago. And I think something for pass holders, because pass holders, myself included, were screaming like, all right, enough with these reservations. If I wake up, like I went to Epcot today. I made the reservation a week ago. I made another reservation for next week. Sometimes I don't know how I'm going to feel the day of. Do I really want to go? I like being spontaneous and going when I want.
Right.
There are times where, you know what, if I'm sitting out with neighbors and we want to go to dinner, we want to be able
Bingo.
to like hop into our car and go there for dinner. And guess
Yeah.
what? Disney
Now
threw
you
us,
can.
when I say a bone, it was a big bone. I don't know when it's going to start, but within the next few months after 2 p.m., no reservation necessary.
Yeah.
And you know that's what they had to be thinking. It's like, how many people have we lost that haven't been able to come in that would just come in to eat dinner?
Right.
And now they can't because they can't get a reservation on this day.
I mean, I would like to just go even and walk around the kiosks during the festivals.
Yeah,
You know?
absolutely. And farts is starting soon.
Yeah. I mean,
Farts,
that would be
those
fantastic.
of you who don't know what a fart is, it's not what you think. It's Festival of the Arts.
Yeah. It starts the 13th, tomorrow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, tomorrow.
Friday the 13th.
I didn't even notice that, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
We were talking about it. Oh, geez.
Yeah, I think that's great what they did. I hope at some point the reservation system will go away for pass holders. But I think it does work very well for people who are purchasing daily tickets or who are staying in a resort, because then you know where you're going to be and when you're going to be there, and Disney knows where you're going to be and when you're going to be there. But I like doing things spontaneously. I really don't like making reservations. I want to wake up and say, okay, I'm going to the
I
park.
just want to go. That's what I used to do when I first moved here.
But you know what? I'm very happy right now that I can go after 2 p.m. Because you know what? I'll probably go to the parks more at night than especially when it gets hot out. I'll do that.
Let me ask a quick question, because this affects you guys more than, well, Stuart, affects you. Darlene, you got the high pass. It doesn't matter. You can go anytime. Stuart, with your pass, where yours is a Monday through Friday pass, I believe.
Correct. Yep.
With this new thing being offered, you're still excluded from weekends, correct?
Yeah, that's okay. I'm fine with
I just wanted to make sure, because
I purposely didn't want to go on the weekends because the parks to me on the weekends are just too crowded and too crazy, and I don't want to deal with it. I don't like crowds.
And when I reviewed Keith's pass, he wanted that one, but I
He has to have that.
Because
this at the weekends.
Yeah, we have family that comes in on the weekends.
Well, he works.
That works perfect for him. What are you talking about?
But my daughter's coming in, and she's coming in on a weekend, and
all right. Look at from a selfish perspective. Keith works Monday through Friday. When can he go? Saturday and Sunday. He needs the weekends.
Right. So, yeah, a couple of the people I work traveling with they've got your pass. So when we arrive on Sunday, and they're okay with it, they can't go in. They're like, I'm just going to veg out over at the pool because we can't. Disney Vacation Club, you don't get to check in until 4:00.
Yes.
So they'll turn their passes on. They'll go to Disney Springs or whatever. But if they could go in after 2:00, that would have been awesome. But now we'll just have to, we'll figure something else out to do, which is fine. We'll still go to the park during the day, but we'll have to figure out what to do. It would have been nice if they could have gone in after 2, but it makes perfect sense why they're not allowing that. So my sister also did purchase the photo pass separately. So when she saw this come out, she's like, are you kidding me? Most of the pictures that we keep are those pictures that are now with Genie Plus that we're most likely going to be buying anyways.
Yeah.
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 I don't think this is the end of what Disney's going to do in terms of giving back to the guests and pass holders. I think there's going to be more coming over the next months and year.
So do you think they'll, here's a big question. Do you think they'll start to sell annual passes again? Or does this make it tougher for them to do that?
I think they will.
I think they will. I think they'll
moderation.
Do more passes than what they have. I don't know if they'll do the Incredipass, but I have a feeling it'll be not just the Pixie Dust, maybe the Pirate Pass. They'll start off and see how many of those go.
Yeah, maybe. What I think they'll do too is, and correct me if I'm wrong here, but I think they will, outside of DVC owners, I think they're going to completely eliminate permanently annual passes for people who live outside of the state of Florida for Disney World.
Now,
and they may have done that already. And if I'm wrong about that, please correct me.
you just mentioned DVC. I mean, we've bought into this. We've bought into this as much as an annual pass holder. We are Disney Vacation Club owners. We own a piece of the property for 42 years. There's 3 of us here. Are they going to offer us any deals on any tickets? Any deals on any annual passes? What do you guys think?
35% off on the Galactic Star Cruiser.
When you got when 3/4 of your family is introverted and won't interact with other people, that 35% off might as well be 95% off because they're like not interested.
I mean, that's a good question. So they had, before the pandemic, they had started to improve some of the perks. We didn't used to have a discount on merchandise, and we do now. So I think that they will start to look at that again. I think if they're looking at doing these kinds of things to reconnect with their guests, especially some of their best guests, then I think that the DVC leadership would be empowered to do that.
Yeah.
I thought we always had 20% on merch.
There was a time when we didn't have anything.
I hate to say this again, but I think the person that was there just before Bob Iger came back really tied the hands of the people that needed to have the authority to do things that they believed would help them and help business, and they couldn't do it because he had to have his hands on everything. And I'm glad I'm thrilled to death that Bob Iger is back, even if it's just for 2 years, as we look at Cogsworth popping his head up and down.
They just announced something. Some new chairman. There's a former guy from Nike.
Nike, the former CEO. He's going to be the chairman of the board for Disney. He's taking Susan Arnold's place.
Yeah. She's timing out or something like that.
Her 10 years up.
Her time is up.
Yeah. I think that's a positive move. I hope it will be a very positive move. But, just talking briefly about where the next Disney president CEO will come from, I think it likely will come from within. I don't think you're going to see the same mistakes that happen, and God, hopefully there won't be another pandemic. But I think you won't see the same mistakes that happen under the previous regime, and they'll keep moving forward in the direction that they need to go into. Not only make them profitable, but to make us guests thrilled to go to the parks. I think some of the things we'll see over the next year, and this is just, maybe it's wishful thinking, I think you'll see annual passes sold again in moderation. They might revise, what the blackout dates on the passes, maybe increase and decrease them, change the names of them again. They might modify it a little bit here and there.
How long has it been since they sold new annual passes outside of
the
Florida?
Pixie Dust?
Yeah.
2020, right before the pandemic.
No.
No, they brought some of them back.
Yeah, because I was able to I got the Pirate Pass initially when I came back, and then we saw we weren't going on the weekends, and why we weren't going on the weekends, so we got the Pixie Dust one.
That's right, because that was but once you have it, you can keep renewing it.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
They tightened it up. They only allowed some to be sold right after the pandemic, but it wasn't very long.
Right, it wasn't very long. Annual passes are a guaranteed income for them. So I think you will see them selling them again. I just don't know how they're going to go about it or when. I think Darlene might be right. The Incredipass might go by the wayside, or it might cost a lot more. If you want this to go to the park whenever you want, you're going to pay this. You don't want to pay it? Pick one of these.
I'm afraid to let mine lapse at this point.
Yeah.
I know. I would not let a pass lapse at this point. No.
I think we'll see discounts for annual pass holders, DVC members, for merchandise pop up, where, it might be 10 or 20% normally. Maybe one weekend they'll have it at 25% or 30% just to, you know, give people an incentive to purchase more. I don't know. I'd like to see them make some changes at Disney Plus too, you know, for annual pass holders and DVC members, whether we will see that or not, to give us an incentive to keep renewing our subscriptions or first get their subscription, even add Hulu into that or ESPN Plus. So I don't know. But I think they're doing more things now than they have in the last couple of years. And I think everything they've done is just positive for Disney guests. It's a win-win for guests. You know, it may not be everything we want, but it's more than what we had.
I would love to now that the train is back open, I'd love to see him bring back that Magic Behind the Steam Trains tour.
Oh, that would be great. That would be great.
It was a great little tour. It's only a couple hours long. It's like, I think the last time I saw it was like $35. It would probably be about 50 now.
I would love to see that.
It was a great tour. I haven't seen it in forever.
Yeah. Anybody else want to add anything else to what we've discussed tonight?
I think we've covered a lot of it.
Yeah, we did. You know, I mean, I mentioned what I think could possibly happen. Anybody else have any thoughts about what they think might possibly happen over the next year?
They'll announce
in terms of perks.
Perks.
Oh, perk wise?
Well, I'm glad that they're going to give us, you know, the reservation. Possibly, you got to check your email for Tron coming up. That's a great like little caveat that we have, that we can get that. But you have to check your email daily to get that.
Yes, Darlene, check your emails daily. We know you don't.
I was going to say, I check my email hourly.
Yeah. Me too.
What's that expected time frame for the previews? Like the very first couple of days of April, or?
I think so. Well, it might be the end of March too.
Yeah, I think you'll see it carry into March.
Yeah. Yeah, I unfortunately won't be down for a couple of weeks after that.
Mm-hmm. Well, and this is the thing. I'm glad they're not doing it like a virtual thing where you have to log in like the parties and you have everybody and their brother that lives out of state logging in to get them, and then they don't come down.
Yeah.
And booking for 6 when they only have 4 in their party.
True.
Yeah. Yeah. That's, you know, I don't like when people do that. It's you're playing with the system, and and at some point in time, it's going to affect people who do things the right way and honestly, and it's going to impact everyone negatively because they're going to have to change it to stop the people who are playing around with the system.
Right. Well, what they'll end up doing is they'll say, we're going to charge $5 for this, and people will complain about it.
Yeah.
I used to get it for free. Yeah, but you also used to buy 6 tickets and only use 2.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah. You know, something I haven't mentioned that I'd like to see them do, and it's not something I expect them to do, but I think it would be great if they could do this for people who are going on a cruise. If you book a Disney World package before and or after your cruise, give them transportation, or even if it's discounted, to and from the resort, to the cruise, to the port. I think that would be something they could do. That maybe it would give people incentive to not just go on a cruise or not just go to Disney World, but to do both.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't they used to have a bus? Well, it wasn't free. It was $50 a person. That went back and forth.
I don't know if the buses. They do have a bus.
They have a bus that goes back and forth.
Yeah, I don't know how much they charge, but if you at least give the people that are doing that a discount, you know, over somebody who, you know, well, they're the only ones who would be using it anyway. I didn't think that through. But you know, give somebody an incentive to do a double dip trip.
Right. Yeah.
By double dip, I mean land and sea.
Yeah, land and sea.
Or sea. How about land and, or I'm sorry, sea and space?
Yeah. There you go.
There you go.
But 95% of Disney guests are introverts. And, no, I'm kidding.
Yeah, my kids, they're we were just talking about that. I'm like, hey, look, 35% off, and they're like, what's the whole big thing with that? It's an interactive thing.
Yeah.
Both of my kids are introverts, and my wife doesn't care enough about Star Wars.
So I love Star Wars, but I don't like being put in positions where I have to come out of my shell because I am an introvert. It's easy to hide behind this. I'm holding up the microphone. And it's easy to hide behind my Facebook page or wherever else I am. But I'm very shy.
Yeah, get a little Kaja Goo Goo song going here.
Yeah, there you go.
All right. That will do it for us this week. We'll be back Tuesday. Maybe Cogsworth will join us as well.
I know.
For another edition of the WDW Fans on Show. It's our news and events edition that will be back. We record on Tuesdays. So Tuesday night, look to see, whether it's YouTube, iTunes, the new episode should drop then. And later in the week, we'll be back with our regular show. And remember, if you're planning a Disney trip, whether it's Disney World or anywhere else, our preferred travel planner is Mouse Fan Travel, and you can find out more information about them by going to www.mousefantravel.com. So until next time, everybody be safe. Have a great weekend. Bye-bye.
Good night, everybody.
I think with all these positive changes that the cast members are just down there in Disney World waiting and saying, be our guest, put our service to the test. So you come back and be our guest again next week. Good night.
Have a magical night. Thank you to all the Walt Disney World Disney runners this weekend. We had a blast. Stay safe.